Hi friends, welcome to another fascinating free-form edition of Socially Distant, and because I haven't had time to have the paperwork changed, I'm still Brian Noonan. Well, mark it on your calendars, friends. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020, the day summer was officially canceled in Chicago. This news is going to come really as no surprise in the COVID-19 era that we're living in, and the fact that there's been tons of social unrest, but mostly because the killer virus is still at large. But today, Chicago announced that Lollapalooza, the Air and Water Show, and Taste of Chicago canceled. Three of the centerpieces of Chicago's summertime gone. Nada. No more. People not in the parks. Am I upset? Not really. Lollapalooza every year is the same for me. I look at the lineup of all these bands that are coming to Grant Park and I think to myself, here's one or two that I would really like to see, surrounded by 900 others that I have absolutely no idea about. Now, I'm not a guy who's opposed to learning about new music. I'm just too lazy to do so. But the thought of going to Grant Park at the end of July, when it always storms, it's as if God looks down and goes, Lollapalooza weekend, let me send some sideways rains, horizontal winds, tornadoes, and everything else to this music festival. The thought of standing there with wet, sweaty, dirty hippies, quite frankly, wandering around from stage to stage, listening to bands I've never heard of, I'm not the target market for that. You want to talk to the young kids with the flowers in their hair, doing Molly, rolling around on the ground and pretending everything is wonderful. You don't want an old man standing there going, my feet hurt and I can't go there, and who's Cage the Elephant? I have absolutely no idea who these bands are. Really, the only reason I want to go to Lollapalooza is I've heard rumors of a lobster corn dog that's supposed to be phenomenal. But $100 to get in to buy a $20 corn dog? I'll pass. I feel bad though for all the musicians and the real music fans who love Lollapalooza. But imagine the petri dish of virus in that place. Grant Park, shoulder to shoulder, sweaty people screaming, hacking, smoking their doobies. Virus would just be flying around. I don't want any part of it. So Lollapalooza, gone. Feeling bad for the bands, feeling bad for the music fans, and bad for the city because that's a ton of lost revenue. Where else are they going to lose revenue? Taste of Chicago. Ugh. I know I sound very cranky today, but it's true. Taste of Chicago started out really small and cool. Now, I haven't been to Taste since I was maybe a freshman in college. It's just nuts. The idea, again, this is showing how old I am, and I realize I sound like a cranky old man. But the thought of sitting on the curb in 95-degree weather with 100% humidity, next to a bunch of other shirtless people who were sweating, trying to enjoy fried oysters, ice cream, and jerk chicken at overpriced little samples? No. If I want really good food, you know what I'll do? I'll go to a restaurant. I'll try new places. I'll get recommendations from friends. I'm not going to lay down in the gutter and have somebody go, oh, you know what? This is the best ratatouille you have ever had. You should try it. Hey, go over and sit by the drainage ditch and get some paella. That'll be fun. No, pass. Again, I feel bad for the restaurateurs who really are having a hard time anyway, so a little boost in revenue probably would have helped. I feel bad that the city is once again going to lose out on a ton of revenue, which means that next year, the exciting thing is parking in the city will be $300 an hour. Plus, everybody's property taxes will go up. Oh, the mayor says they won't, but let's be honest. You need to make up a lot of dough between COVID and everything else. It's got to come from somewhere, and unfortunately, property owners are going to be the ones bearing the brunt. So, now we get to the Air and Water Show. I don't get it. I don't. Nobody goes to see the boats anyway. Let's be honest. Who cares if a fireboat can shoot water out of its top? Ooh, very exciting. You're like a mechanical dolphin. We get it. Everybody comes for the planes. And by everybody, I mean it's ridiculous. If you've never been to the Air and Water Show, and I've only seen it from a distance, but the footage is just crazy. People jamming the beaches, trying to get there. Again, another perfect breeding ground for coronavirus. That and the fact that every year people complain, if they live downtown in the high-rise, about getting buzzed by these fighter jets all day. They've got the 2 days of the Air and Water Show and the day of practice. So it is like living 3 days in a war zone without, the casualties, the death, the destruction, but the jet noise nonetheless. People say, oh man, people with PTSD, people with who are afraid, people with pets, people hate the air and water show. I'm ambivalent, mostly because I lived in the suburbs. The few times I was in the city and I got to see, one or two flyovers for practice, I thought that was cool. Would I have ever trekked down to the beach and sat there with a bunch of other slack-jawed yokels looking at planes fly by me? No chance. Plus, a few years ago, one of the military parachutists died in an accident. We don't need that. Save the military for military exercises. I don't need to watch them fly overhead. I don't need a reminder of the great strength of the United States military. I get it. We're ready to go. God bless them. I don't need to see them fly in over Chicago. I don't need to risk them getting hurt or, God forbid, dying again. Now, the city once again taking a big hit on revenue. That's a common theme with all this. For us, the summer is canceled, which sucks. For us who live in Chicago or take part in Chicago or work in Chicago or enjoy Chicago, that just means next year, everything's going to get a little more expensive. So, while you weep for the lost summer, weep for the future. Or do what I do and just completely neglect to plan for the future and figure it's coming either way. There's really nothing I can do about it. That's kind of how I'm going to look at the future. All right, well, I'm going to try to make plans for a summer that's not going to exist. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of sitting on the deck, smoking cigars, and drinking beers. But you know what? There's worse way to spend the summer. All right, I got to get out of here, but until next time, stay safe. Stay as healthy as you can by staying home. And always, always stay socially distant. Bye.